Sound should be on now, and hopefully you can hear me. And that's all good. Sound good now, guys? Excellent. My apologies, I forgot to click it back on. But yeah, that's my blue tongue lizard. So I'm just going to turn the sound off on my other computer, and I'm going to get started. So today we're working with some new technology. I've actually managed to pinch my wife's iPad and worked out how to direct the picture through to my software, and hopefully this should work quite nicely, and you'll all get to see things much better than before when I was just holding a camera up to the worksheet. So let's have a look at what we're doing today. So I'm going to bring you over to the sheet. So last time we met, we did skipped too many pages already. Apologies. Last time we met, we worked on questions like this. But we skipped number 3, which is writing intervals below given notes. And we did a slightly different version of this question. We took the word inversions out. But then we didn't finish anything further down below. So today we are going to firstly work on intervals question 3 on page 24. So here they are. So unlike the questions we've done before where we wrote the intervals above the notes, and that's the way we've done it so far this year. It's also the way we did all our intervals in year 10. This from now on, we are going to be doing intervals both above and below. So it means that the note will go below the given note, and so on and so forth. Slightly different process, but it's very similar. You work it out in a similar manner. Same theoretical ideas, just slightly different. So I'm going to now, with a bit of luck, manage to now jump into my iPad and see if this works. So we are now in the iPad. As you can see, I can scroll the worksheet up, and I've actually already put some notes in by pen that hopefully you can see clearly and will help us in our work today. So I can still hopefully point things out with my mouse. Yes, I can. Rest assured, we've still got our little key signature chart that I can bring in and out, and also point it out with my mouse, which will hopefully be very helpful too. So that's there for us as well. But right now, we're going to work through some questions. Okay, so let's have a look at this question here. So we're going to start with the perfect fourth, but on this occasion we're going to write the intervals below the given notes. Now, what are the steps? Well, the first step is exactly the same as before. You count the gap and then pop the note in. So if we're looking at a perfect fourth, but below, and that's the key word here, below, we'll count down instead of up. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a fourth below G is D. Now that wasn't a very neat D. I'm trying to get used to this new stylus, so let's see how we go. That's better. And I'll smooth the mouse out the way. So we've got a D. Now, from now on, it's mostly the same again. You still need to work out the key signature of the bottom note, because that's just the way it works. So don't get confused and work out the key signature of that G. It's the D that we need to work out the key signature for. So let's have a look. If that's a D, quick reminder that we use our order of sharps going this way. We go Father Christmas Gets Drunk up to the name of the key, D. You take away 2, which means it's just F and C. So I still recommend that you write the key signature just above the top for the bottom note. Cool. What do we do now? Well, step 3 is, what does the top note need? So, to be a perfect fourth, it needs to follow the key signature. So the question is, does G belong to D major? Let's have a look. The key signature is Father Christmas, or F sharp, C sharp. I should probably start doing that but I know we use the acronym, it's very easy to remember. And that is a G, so it does fit the scale. Therefore, we've got a perfect fourth. Because we've got the interval we need, step 4 isn't needed at this stage. But I'll take you through step 4 in a moment, in a question that we'll have in a moment. So I'm going to work through half of these questions today and then leave you with the other half to do for your homework. So let's have a look at this next question. So we are looking at putting a perfect fifth below F. So first things first, count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is B. Again, trying my best with the new stylus. That was a bit dodgy. I am going to try again. Much better. Okay, so a fifth below F is B, but the next question we need to ask is what note do we need to make it a perfect fifth? Well, let's have a look. We've done step 1, count the gap. Step 2, let's work out the key signature of the bottom note. We said that that bottom note was B, so let's go from left to right because we're a sharp key, up to B. Take away the last 2, and it means that the key signature of B major is F, C, G, D, and A sharps. So, I'm going to write that down above our question again. Father Christmas gets... I didn't do that very well. It's not hard to erase, thankfully. Gets drunk at. So, that is the key signature of the bottom note B, which is here. So, the next thing we need to ask ourselves is what does the top note need? For this to be a perfect fifth, and for those of you who know about intervals and know what we're doing here, have done intervals below before, you'll think that I'm making a mistake right now, but please just bear with me, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so what do we need above B to make a perfect fifth? Well, that note's an F, but what should it be? Let's look at the key signature. F sharp. That top note, and please don't write this in if you're working from home. This is just to help you out. That top note should have been F sharp. But the golden rule in these sorts of tests and exam questions is that you are never allowed to adjust the top note. Only the note you write in can be adjusted. So we're not allowed to leave that sharp in the question. So how do we make this a perfect fifth if we're not allowed to sharpen the top note? So what did that sharp do? It made the top note go up by a semitone. Now, if we're not allowed to move the top note up by a semitone, but we want to keep the space the same between the notes, the only other option is to lower the bottom note. In other words, we do the opposite of what we needed to do the top note to the bottom note. So let's have a go at that. It would look like this. So we're pushing the bottom note down rather than pushing the top note up, and you get a B flat. You can then double check. Okay, let's think about it. If we're working in B flat major now, what would B flat major's key signature be? Well, we work from the right to the left for flat keys. We go up to the name of the key and add one more. So let's go from right to left. Oh, there's B for B flat major. Add one more flat. B flat and E flat. Okay. So that's an F. So it fits because it's not B flat or E flat. So yes, we can confirm that we have a perfect fifth. Cool. We're going to do 2 more questions on this line, and I'll leave the remaining 3 for you to do as a part of your homework today. So let's have a look at this question. So minor third below E flat. So step 1, count the gap. E flat, D, C. So we need a C. There it is. Okay. So the next question we need to ask, and I'm just going to put a little line here to question out, sort of to separate out the last question. What is C major's key signature? C major's key signature is no sharps or flats. So we know we're in C major, so in C major, that top note, if it's a major third, should be E. The flat lowers the top note by a semitone, making it minor, and that is in fact the question we were after. So we can leave it. All done. In fact, I'm looking at the next couple of questions. I think you should be able to work these out by yourself. I think 2 explanations is enough because I'm looking at some of them and they're pretty simple. Give it your best shot. I can always give you further support when we have future lessons or back in Zoom after this video. Okay, so please complete these 4 questions as a part of your learning after this video. And we're going to move on now. So, whoops, I just need to go to pen mode for a minute. Let's scroll the page up and have a go at the rest of the page. So, here is another way that you'll see interval questions in the tests and exams you'll do in the future. What happens is that there are bracketed intervals, and your job is to identify the interval pair. What we'll do is I'm going to do these 3 with you, and I'll leave these 3 for you to do as home tasks. All your work's home tasks, I guess. You know what I mean. So, both questions work in exactly the same way, but this one's in bass clef. Let's do the treble clef one right now. So, what do? First things first, we need to look at the pair of notes that are bracketed, and similarly to before, step 1, count the gap. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this question is some sort of fourth. There we go. Cool. Now, like before, we need to work out what is the key signature of the bottom note. So the lower of the 2 notes. What is the key signature? That's a G. Hopefully we know G major by now, but just reminding you. Father Christmas gets. So you go up to the name of the key, take away 2, and we're left with just F sharp. So the key signature of G major is F sharp. So all we need to ask ourselves now is, does that top note belong to G major? Well, the only sharp note in G major is F, and this top note is a C. So we know that because these 2 notes belong, or the C belongs to a G, that it is either major or perfect. A reminder, the perfect intervals are the unison, the octave, the 4th and the 5th, and the 2nd and 3rd, 6th and 7th are the major ones. So it's a 4th, so therefore it's perfect. And we can just write per. Let's have a look at the next one. So we've got 2 notes here. Step 1, count the gap. 1, 2. So it's some sort of second. Okay, so it's some sort of second. Next question. D is the bottom note. What's D major's key signature? F, C, G, D. Stop on the name of the scale. Take away 2, F and C. I always recommend you just quickly write that above the question. It helps keep things visible so you know what we're working with. So, the notes in D major that need to be sharpened are F sharp and C sharp. What is this note? It's an E. So, because it's not affected by the key signature, we say it fits to the D major scale. So, it's major or perfect. Remind me, which one's a perfect, which one's a major? The way I think of it is the biggest and the smallest interval, the unison and the octave are perfect, and then the 2 in the middle are perfect, the 4th and the 5th. Otherwise, they're major. Because the E fits D, and this is a second, it's therefore a major second. Let's do one more, and I'll leave this bottom line here for you to do as a part of your learning task today. So, here are 2 pairs of notes. Now, for the first time, the lower note is the bottom note. It doesn't matter that that's the case, it's still the bottom note, so you work from the bottom up, and we count the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We only know one type of octave at the moment. That's the perfect octave. As I've mentioned before, there are augmented octaves. That's where the interval is bigger by a semitone. So in this case, C to C sharp would be an augmented octave. Diminished. Perfect intervals can become diminished by making them smaller. We'll learn about this very soon. So if it was C to C flat, that's a diminished octave. But we only know one type of octave, the perfect one. But just to double check it's all matching, we know C and C the same note, but C major's key signature, no sharps or flats. No sharps or flats, so yeah, it's definitely perfect. Cool. Okay, so please have a look at question 6 for your homework. Now, hopefully you're getting really good at your bass clef by now. Just a reminder that the spaces are all cows eat grass. And the lines over here, if I spread them out a bit, were good. That was a terrible G. Let me fix that up. Good birds. That was terrible as well. Don't fly. And away for the lines. There you go. Good birds don't fly. Away. If you're forgetting your bass clef notes, but you should really be trying to get that fluent. Do more musictheory.net questions on note reading if you are struggling with your bass clef. So, I'll leave this question here for you to do as home practice. Let's do a listening question to finish off. So this is the interval question 7. So, I'm going to play you some ascending intervals, which will be played twice each. They'll be just one of the following: minor second, minor third, minor seventh, perfect fourth, and perfect octave. So let's quickly review them before I play some interval questions to you. So let's go over to my keyboard here, and let's have a listen to the minor second. So that would of course be the interval that sounds like Jaws. Now I've just looked back at your questions. I have not been able to see as much of the live channel because I've got too many windows open at the moment. Moana, what do you mean by, is that a B sharp or a D? If you could just pop in the question, which question number it is, and I'll come back to that after this interval question. So, coming back to what I was saying. So, minor second sounds like Jaws. Minor third was the start of Greensleeves. So, and then the other intervals that we can have: minor seventh. There's a place for us. And the perfect fourth: Australians, all let us rejoice, and various other songs. And the perfect octave: there's a place... sorry, what am I singing? That's totally the wrong song. Somewhere over the rainbow. Also, my Sharona. So, they are the intervals we're going to be listening for. My apologies about the incorrect song name just a few seconds ago. Lots of things going through my mind, trying to remember everything that I'm doing. So, what we're going to do is we are going to have a go at this question. I'm going to play you 6 intervals. In fact, I'm going to get Deborah Smith to play you 6 intervals directly through her files. So, just let me bring these up. So she'll be playing these intervals one at a time, and you'll hear them played through 1 through to 6. So let's have a go at this. I'm going to set off her recording in just a second, and here we go. So I'll start the question off now. Interval number 1. That was interval number 1. Please let me know in the chat window if you can't hear that sound. I'm trying a slightly different approach right now. Wasn't clear? That's alright, I'll try again. Let me put the volume up a bit. So I'm trying some new technology out today. So it doesn't always work. Let's try again. So, thank you for bearing with me. New technology always takes a little while to be worked out. I'll try that again. Let's play that interval again. Let's see if you can hear it this time. Yep, cool. Okay, let's go straight into interval number 2. Okay, so that was interval number 2. So feel free to hum the notes, try and work out which song it matches. Just a reminder, it's only out of the intervals listed there: minor second, minor third, minor seventh, perfect fourth, and perfect octave. I'll press play and we can have the next song now, next interval now. That was interval number 3. I'll play the next interval, which will be interval number 4. I'll now play the interval for number 5. And last but not least, interval number 6. Okay, let's go through these intervals together. I'm going to play the intervals through one more time. Sorry, I have a few technical issues again today. I'm going to go back to the screen. So here's our worksheet. I'm just going to bring our work up so you can see it in the window. And let's go through these intervals one at a time. And then I'll also go back to that question you asked about the intervals. So here we go through it again. I'll also take you through my thinking how I would do this. I'd be singing the notes da da. Or I think that's Jaws. Da da. Yeah, you can't fit any notes in between there. Da da. It's a semitone, so it's the minor second. Let's have a listen to the next one. Da da. If you don't like the songs, you can always count. Da 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 da. I counted 4 notes, Australians. Da 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 dun. From the Addams Family as well, perfect fourth. Da da. There's a place for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, minor seventh. Da da, there I'm somewhere over the rainbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course, perfect. I should have written that in. I'm always telling you off for not writing it in. My apologies that I forgot this time. Da da, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Yep, minor third. Da da, Australians. Da 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 da. Da da, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, perfect 4. Thanks for the warning that the tablet's on 11%. I'm not going to be using it for too much longer. So, hopefully it'll last the distance. So, they are the intervals. I hope that worked for you. I'll get your feedback once we get back into the Zoom meeting in a minute. So, just to answer your question. So, what was it? Interval number 3. So, interval 3, where were we? And the question was 5 sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, whoops. I get what you mean. Is it a B? Was it B sharp? So that's this note here is a B. It's just below the C ledger line. The reason we wrote out B major's key signature first was because originally when we worked out the question, we counted down the notes to B. We worked out that F needed to be sharp, but because we can't sharpen the top note, we flatten the bottom note. Like so. Excellent. Cool. Look, I'm going to jump out of this live channel now. Thank you for your patience with me trying out new technology. I'm sure I'll get used to this. I think it worked well. I'll get your feedback when we get back into the classroom. But for this live stream now, I'm going to sign off. Have a good day. See you back in Zoom in a moment.